じゃあまずですね、トップバッターなんですけど、本社からスペシャルゲストを招いております。AI 戦略の、トップです。責任者です。我々が今どこにいてどこに行くのかっていうところを説明してもらおうと思ってます。その前にレシーバーがお手元にありますので、レシーバーのセットをしていただければと思います。じゃあカートを迎えたいと思います。カート、Welcome on the stage.
Thank you, Yutaka. Thank you. Ohayo gozaimasu. Good morning, Tokyo. My name is Kurt Muehmel, and it is my great pleasure to be here today with all of you. Thank you all for attending. Thank you for our customers who are going to be presenting. Thank you to our team, which has organized all of this. And thank you to the interpreters who are allowing you to understand me despite my inability to speak Japanese. So today, to kick things off, I'm going to talk to you about what I think is a very important topic for all of you. This is the topic not of how to use AI. It's not the topic of do we get value out of AI, but the topic of how do we get more value from AI than our competition. Difference between just using the technology and using the technology to be in a better competitive position. So what I mean by that, it is the difference between commodity AI and differentiated AI. To define this notion of commodity AI, let's start with a very, very simple graph. Here we see simply AI spending on the horizontal axis. So this is the money that you're going to spend, money going out of your business. You're spending this on AI models, on training your teams, on the cost of running these models. But of course, we know there's value to come from AI. So on the vertical axis, we have the value that you're generating. This is, of course, coming from new efficiencies, coming from automation, new products, better insights. We can imagine that both you and your competition are both going to spend money, but you're also going to get value. And so you can imagine over time that you, the blue line, you're spending money, your competition, you're spending money, and in the end, we've spent lots of money, but we've also gotten a lot of value. So this, in a way, this is very good. The economists are very happy. The Japanese economy is now more efficient as a result of this. But your shareholders, they're maybe a little concerned because even though you're more efficient, you are not yet more competitive because you are using the same AI in the same way as everybody else. So how do we change this story? How do we make it so that you, when you're spending that money, not only are you getting value out of it, but you're also getting more value than the competition? This difference here, what we call the differentiated AI gap, this is the difference between just getting by and succeeding with AI. And the way that you do that is by, of course, using the same models, but using them more intelligently, more effectively, more efficiently than your competition. So what will this look like? You'll tell me, Kurt, this is a very nice idea, but concretely, how do I make differentiated AI in my business? Well, I'm going to give you a specific example. There's potentially many different ways that you could do this within your business, but I'm going to be talking to you about the notion of AI agents and specifically AI agents applied to analytics. Today, we are all familiar with the process of generating analytics within our business. All of you, many of you, hopefully soon all of you, are using Dataiku to generate analytics. As a result, it's relatively easy, relatively fast, certainly better than it was in the past. However, it's still not perfect. There's still more progress that can be done because today, companies are often still blocked at the last mile for getting analytics into the hands of the people who need to make decisions at the moment when they need to make that decision. As a result, companies are not getting the full value that they can from their data. In the future, though, the most advanced organizations, the organizations that are succeeding with AI, they will be building hundreds of generative AI-powered agents which are generating analytics, which are automating processes all in real time, and they're managing that fleet, this collection of agents across their business. So, what would an analytics agent look like? What would this actually be for a company? To start with, let's just remind ourselves of how analytics are produced in companies today. I think we're all very familiar with this process. You start, of course, with the business person, somebody who has to make a business decision for their company about their domain of expertise. Maybe it's marketing, maybe it's human resources. It could be anybody in the company. But they need insight to inform their decision. So they ask a question to the analyst. Maybe there's a little discussion to clarify the question. But once the analyst understands the problem, they start to work on the solution. They use their innate curiosity. This is a human being who is a curious person. They can explore the idea. They also have access to tools and skills. Maybe they know how to write SQL, Python. They also have access to data, privileged access to data, more so than the business person. So they can go and access data to inform that decision. They generate their results. They put it into a format which is easy for the business person to understand, and they return that to the business person. Hopefully this takes maybe a matter of 1 or 2 days. Maybe it takes 1 or 2 weeks. Maybe sometimes it takes 1 or 2 months to produce this new insight. It's good. The business person has information, but it took some time. In the future, an AI-powered agent, an AI-powered decision support system will automate this process. The business person, instead of asking the analyst directly, will ask that AI agent for the answer. That analyst, of course, still has a job. They're building and maintaining this system, which they are going to use to automate the generation of that analytic. So, let's go into an example of what this might look like. We can imagine an agent supporting a sales team. We can ask that agent a very big, complex question. You don't need to read the details of the question. Just notice that this is a long question. Also a question which is somewhat open-ended. I have an idea, I have a question, but I don't know exactly how to formulate it. But that's okay. The agent would then respond not only with the results and maybe a dashboard or a visualization, but also, if it's designed well, this opportunity to notice something new and to expand the scope of the question and to provide real insight in a similar way to what the human analyst would do. This looks simple. This is a simple chatbot, but behind the scenes, it is, of course, more complicated. So let's take some time to actually look at what this would look like behind the scenes. How would you actually build a system like this? So, it starts with the question from the user. I would like to understand some information about the company. So this is the question from the user. That question first goes to probably a very large, general, large language model, something like GPT-4. That system, that model, is going to be instructed to break up the question into smaller questions. Those smaller questions will be handed off to more specific models, models which are then instructed to do different things. Maybe one will write SQL to gather historical data. Another will write Python to develop analytics or a machine learning model. And then importantly, the last one might identify new topics to explore. The result of this is new data written to a database, new Python to generate this analytics, and also more questions to ask. And so those new questions go through the process again. So behind the scenes, this is working through the problem, generating answers. At some point, you hand those answers off to another model which is going to evaluate those answers. Does this seem like a good answer to this question? If yes, then finally another model will generate a dashboard or slides to display the results, which will give it back to the original model to put it into a format and respond to the end user. In each of those cases, you will be able to build a system where you're giving it very specific instructions for what to do at each step in this process. And I mentioned that you will be building these systems because this is ultimately the source of differentiation, building a better system than what your competition will have. And so, what are the opportunities for differentiation in a system like this? They are many. Maybe you're using a fine-tuned large language model that is better at interpreting your question. It speaks your language, so to speak. Maybe also you have a private LLM that you run yourself that allows you to use your most sensitive data with that system. Another opportunity would be to use a small LLM for some of the specific tasks. You don't need to use GPT-4 for writing Python. You could use a smaller, much more specific model for a very specific purpose. This is important because it will allow you to keep your costs down and performance up. You also, of course, have the ability to connect your private enterprise data with this system, since you own, you manage, and you build the system yourself. In these systems, it's going to be very important to monitor and track how is it performing, so you can get fast feedback from the field to ensure that the answers that it is providing are relevant, that they are accurate, and that they are appropriate for the question. You also can, of course, share with your agent proprietary code libraries that only you have access to. You can provide it access to machine learning models that you have developed and that you manage that allow you to give better predictions. So that question about the sales pipeline, making a prediction, are we going to hit our sales targets this year? That agent can have access to all of that proprietary information. And since the agent can have access to it, the business person who is asking the question can have immediate access to the data, the predictions, the insights that they need to inform their decision. So this is an example of one agent applied to one specific domain. I mentioned earlier that the leading organizations will need to manage a fleet of these. How many, though, is the question. It's needed throughout the business, and you have an opportunity to uplift, to improve the operations of your entire business through these systems. But we can imagine that throughout your business, and here I'm taking the example of a pharmaceutical company, throughout your business in different departments, each with different teams, each team could probably have its own sub-team of agents. And so here you see just examples of how different agents would be developed to be very specific. It's going to be very important to have agents which are very granular, very specific to a given domain. Certainly in the future, maybe you have an AI portal which you go to and you access all of them from the same place. But behind the scenes, they need to be narrowly focused so that you can control them and ensure that they provide the results that you intend. So how many is this? Well, we have 5 departments: sales and marketing, human resources, etc. In each of those, we give an example of 5 different teams. And for each team, we imagine 5 agents. So 5 times 5 times 5. Are there any data scientists in the room? 125. You can imagine that there are maybe 100, 200 agents that you will want to develop. So how are you going to do this? Most organizations today, the most advanced organizations that I'm speaking to, they are looking at maybe developing the first one, which is normal. This is new technology. We are at the very early days of this. However, there is going to be a need to equip your company with hundreds of these systems in the coming years. And the companies that can do it the best and that can do it the most quickly, they are going to succeed in a way that their competition will not. So how do you equip your company with all of these different agents? The question, as always, is going to be, should I build this myself or should I buy it off of the shelf? So you can imagine 3 options. On the left, hire software engineers to build agents from scratch. Well, this could potentially work. You could potentially hire many agent developers. These are AI engineers, advanced data scientists who can develop these systems. And you could develop all of these 100, 200 agents yourself, maybe. Alternatively, on the right, you could purchase all of these off of the shelf, because I can guarantee you, you're going to be getting solicitations, you're going to be getting email advertisements from all of the new AI startups telling you that I've developed an agent for your business that can do just this. You're probably receiving these emails already today. Or maybe in the middle, there's something else. Maybe you could use a platform to build some of them. We think that for most companies, it's not realistic to build all of these yourself. There's too many, and frankly, you don't need differentiation in every single domain of your business. Alternatively, though, you don't want to buy all of them, because in the end, you're only getting the same performance, the same quality as your competition, so you are in commodity AI and you are not differentiated. So what we anticipate is that the leading companies will build and differentiate themselves in their most strategic functions. This, of course, will depend on different businesses. For certain businesses, they may want to focus on their sales function. Other businesses, perhaps a manufacturing business, will want to focus on operations. This is a strategy question for each business. I cannot tell you where are the most strategic functions in your business. I can guess, though, that they are probably the ones that are really at the core of your operations. And so for those, and we imagine here that this company has selected a few, we imagine that you're going to want to build those. Because in those core functions, that's where you're going to differentiate yourself from your competition. In the other functions, and imagine here, this is our pharmaceutical company, we have foreign exchange modeling, FX modeling. This is not a core function of the business. It's something that the business has to do. They have to do it well, but a pharmaceutical company is not an investment bank. They want to be good. They don't want to be underperforming in terms of their foreign exchange modeling, but it's not how they're going to beat their competition. They're going to beat their competition by discovering more molecules in their research. Maybe they're going to beat their competition by being more efficient in their operations and in their logistics. Maybe they're going to be more effective at selling or marketing their products than their competition. So these companies will have to decide for themselves what are those core functions where it makes sense to invest the effort, to make the effort to develop these agents, which are going to be so specific that they're going to deliver new capabilities. Well, again, this question is going to depend on each and every company. It's not for me to tell you, but what I can tell you is that here at Dataiku, we have the platform that Yutaka-san just described, which is a platform covering everything from analytics to machine learning, and now to AI. And we're working on the capabilities that will allow you to build and importantly manage all of these different agents within your business. Because we see this truly as the future of analytics and data science in the enterprise. Analytics and data science in the enterprise has been a manual process from the beginning. Now, for the first time, we have an opportunity to truly democratize analytics and data science, giving that business person the autonomy to ask new questions whenever they want, and to have the ability for them to get accurate answers quickly, nearly in real time. And if they ever cannot succeed with the agent, of course, we always have the data science and the analytics teams behind them. We are at the beginning of a new era for decision support in the enterprise. This is a new era where instead of building the analytics or the machine learning models themselves each and every time, the data scientists, the analysts, the data engineers of the business are instead going to be building the systems to do that for the end users. We're moving from a process of manual creation to industrial creation. We're going from sewing with a needle and a thread manually to a sewing machine where we can operate more quickly, more effectively at scale in the business. This is an extremely exciting time for analytics and machine learning, and it's thanks to the new capabilities that AI offers us. AI is not just something to write good emails, though it does this. It's not just something that allows you to generate new images, but it's going to be a technology that allows you to truly automate intelligence in your business. But it cannot do it by itself. It needs to be designed from the bottom up by your teams, by your data scientists, by your data engineers, in collaboration with your business people. And if you succeed in doing this, building these systems which are highly automated, performing well, which allow your business people to get the answers that they need right at the moment when they need to make that decision, you will have achieved true differentiated AI, and you will be stronger than your competition. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kat.